LA. I've been here for almost 2 years. Prior to that, I worked at the Carolina Panthers, Charlotte FC, overseeing the business side of that. And prior to that, I was running the daily stuff at Koelemij. So it's been a great experience. So appreciate you guys.
Fantastic. Hey, Nick, I wanted to start here. Verizon has been activating in professional sports for years and years, and it seems like it needs to be a core pillar of your marketing strategy. Can you talk a bit about this strategy and your recent shift into college sports and your approach to that?
Yeah, it's a good one. So for us, we're complicated. I think the big thing for us is that if you look at a venue like this, like it would be really hard for us to put our logo here if 800,000 people showed up and they could make a phone call. So very few brands have the type of considerations we have to have with a partnership, because there's a level of expectation that if we're going to put our names anywhere inside this building or as an LED, a piece of content, marketplace, we want to make sure that our product works well and our product is on a network. And the only time you ever think about a network, it sucks. So the last thing we want to do is have our logo up here and all of a sudden you're just like, hey, of course it's a Verizon network, of course I can't make a phone call, of course I can't make time. So our number one thing when we look at sport partnerships is how do we get the infrastructure of our partners to be the best in class. The second part of it is how are we doing business together? Are we bringing in partners like Cisco, AWS, others to live on top of our network? And then the last part for us is how do I take this to our customers? So for us, it's a threefold across the board. And the customer piece for us is really for college, because college for us is that start looking at markets like Austin and Omaha and other places. There's a huge challenge for us of the pro team is the college team. So we have to be able to treat college athletics the same way we treat pro sports. So that means leaning into athletes, leaning into a lot of skills. And so what we've done is we have started to dabble in the college space. We're leaning heavily on NIL. We started a test in South Carolina with basically male and female athletes of basketball, volleyball, football, baseball, you name it, just across the board. And they're doing everything from store appearances to social posts to product reviews, because they're the big names. We're now kind of looking at, do we go coaches next? What is the right thing there? Because the hard part is that it is the time it takes to go to a stadium. I won't pick on any one university, but not every stadium is technologically advanced to have to us. So most places don't have. If you go to a lot of the Big Ten schools, they can't even, they have 100,000 down to 60,000, and they're not all created equal. So for us to be able to go in and just lean on the athlete, there's the passion that a local alumni or local fan has for them. I don't have the same one. It's easy. It's they're a Verizon customer, they're a Verizon loyalist. It's an easy transition. Getting on the college campus for us is still going to be 4 or 5 years to figure that out. So.
Gotcha. Okay, and then you mentioned that the level of technology determines if you are engaging. Is there, I guess that in some states, about college athletes, the fact that they are the big athletes, what have you been doing in those areas, assuming that the technology is up to par, so you want to set your name on it and do something there? Are you doing things differently there? How is it challenging?
Yeah, I think the big one for us is we have one college deal right now. This was Notre Dame. Candidly, it was just easier to do a deal with a private university because there is no politics, there is no bureaucracy. It's just they operate Fortune 500 companies, which has made it easy for us to use the same solutions we always have with NFL teams, with baseball teams. What's helped a lot though is that as athletes preparation, so we talk about the student athlete, the importance that we play as it relates to, Monday through Friday, staying connected with friends and family at home, studying, tutoring, reviewing film. If you take a step back, if you do our job well enough, you're going to see the role we play from the minute they wake up to the minute they go to bed. The only time they're really not using us is on the field or during practice. But post-practice, pre-practice, we're involved. Study, we're involved. Class, we're involved. So we use student athletes to really help tell the story of the importance and the role we play in their life. Not necessarily talk about how fast our network is, and not necessarily to talk about the promo we have on iPhone. We don't need support them in their everyday life.
Thanks, Nick. So what I'm taking away here is that I guess through authentic connections at the right time, you reach audience across these emerging channels, right? In general, how has changing consumer behavior shaped or influenced how Verizon shows up in the sports ecosystem as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, it's just that if you look at our media spend in the past, we used to be 90-10 for pre-COVID, so 2020, we were 91% broadcast, creative, above the line, north of $1 billion. Right now, we're a little bit more than 10% is broadcast above the line and 90% digital. So we've done a complete flip-flop from 90-10 broadcast, and then we saw linear to digital. Now we're 90-10 digital to linear. So we made a hard pivot for our ability to address different segmentation. A lot of our broadcast media still sits in live sports. I mean, it's the one thing with the ratings, the reach, the scalability. The other piece for us is just that when we're trying to reach the next generation of our customers, we see all the same data that you guys see. We need to be these social platforms, and they don't necessarily want to hear from us. They want to hear from creators, influencers, athletes. They want to hear from the people that are organically taking this content in from. They don't want us to force it in there. So we found a really good lane. More recently, we hired a head of creative strategy and creators. And what we're doing is she came from TikTok and heard that on this area, how do we naturally find a way for us to insert ourselves into this, this world and growing ecosystem, whether it's TikTok or Snapchat or Instagram or wherever, we've got to find a better way to be there. And look, we're spending tons of money to break through. We're not there yet, but we know that's the level of commitment we're making because we're hiring for those roles to make that possible. The other part about it is too, when we look at, on the partnership side of this, we're leaning on our partners less for 15-second spots or radio ads. We're leaning in them more for their channels, their athletes, even the local, in a place like Texas, we want the guys on the coaches show. We don't want the coaches show 15-second. We want the coaches show social channels. We want those types of things. It's just pivoting entirely, but it also gives us the flexibility. I don't have a 4-week lead time to create a radio spot, a TV spot, everything else. If you guys in Texas were to win by today, we could have on tomorrow a whole new show of talking about how he impacted the game. They think should we have on literally post-game. That kind of flexibility is where we need to be, and not sort of rigid on the format we need to do it.
Right. I guess my takeaway there is being fit for purpose and fit for format, trying to keep up with the pace of culture.
Yeah, look, I think that our way of shaping culture is more of finding where we sit. We sit in the middle of it. We sit in the middle of the technology, the sports, and the connectivity. We aren't in any one space. I'll give you an example. Tonight we have a concert in Miami with Becky G. It's part of our loyalty program. We basically we found that this week is the Latin Grammys. Becky G's nominated for a ton of them. So we basically planned out, we want to provide people access to Becky G there. We bring on a partner like Apple Music. We bring on, another partner like we have with, other Latin artists that will show up and do surprises. Our job is to basically help connect and facilitate. At no point will you see us talk about network. At no point will you see us talk about the latest iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch offer. It'll strictly be about the role that we play in bringing this to life and bringing it together. And that's hard. 90% of the market you probably see from us is promo offers. It's about our fast, reliable network. What's important for us is when we do show up in culture, we look like we know what we're doing, we look like we belong, and we're additive, we're creating these opportunities, we're creating these experiences. We're not doing so to gotcha, here's an iPhone offer. We've got to make sure that you're building brand love in that time. So it's a muscle that we have that we've used in a long time. 10, 15 years ago, we were building brand awareness. The last 10 years, it's been very transactional. We've got to kind of slowly rotate back to we need to remind people why they chose this, why they continue to chose this, etc.
Right. You mentioned something briefly, and I want to go back to that. Verizon is the technical backbone for, I guess, at least 30 sports stadiums nationwide. And the fact that they're allowing fans to make calls, share on social, and text their friends, and also all the POS systems to give it up and running. I think if you go back 10 years,
It's not 8 years. Like, I think that pre-5G, like, so forever people were like, oh, what's 5G going to do? Like, it's hard to explain. Like, but the easiest way to explain it is that, you know, for us, we run, you know, to August point, on an NFL Sunday, we're running a network in almost every state in the country. And so that means we have millions of people on our network in a very dense, isolated area. Our job basically is to make sure pre-COVID is that you can get your Uber, you can get that, you can get your ticket pulled up. Post-COVID, when 5G was installed and everything was deployed, you know, a friend of mine says this all the time. I've been in the sports industry now like 10, 15 years. Pre-5G, you would go to a NASCAR race or you come to a sporting event and you would talk about it like you're going to battle. Like, you would text your friends or call your friends and be like, hey, I'm going to go in, I'm going to have no service, but let's meet at this location. Or if we get split up, we'll go here because you knew your phone wouldn't work. Now, the expectation overnight, literally the last 4 or 5 years, is you want to do your Instagram live, you want to be able to do all the things you live, like TikToks and FaceTime your friends and everything else. And the expectation overnight skyrocketed, just not minimally viable, like, I want to be able to have a phone call. It's now skyrocketed to, I want to be able to have 100,000 people that will FaceTime, a win, you know, be able to show like the flyover, those things. That expectation and demand on our network really just like skyrockets. And every year the amount of data used by sports betting doubles. Like, just because the amount of apps, the capabilities of the phones continues to move fast enough that most stadiums aren't prepared. So our job on game day is fans, 1B, 1A is making sure security, back of house, point of sale. If you guys are all running out of here at halftime and you want to go get a beer, you got to make sure that your point of sale works. It's not a 15-second credit card transaction because that makes everybody bad. And then the last part for us really becomes like, we're running instant replays, we're running player-to-coach communication and making sure that just because 100,000 people are trying to put up a selfie, that there is no interference on what's critical from a communication standpoint. So for us, a stressful weekend isn't like how my social media post perform. That's something stress, but it's the other part is like, you know, was there a critical breakdown in communication for a fan, for a coach, for a EMS? Like, that is the role we play. So that's why when we started, it's so important for us to make sure that if our name is going to be on anything in this, that like we feel confident that we can perform.
Thanks. It's definitely a physical force that's impacting sports on a massive scale, and thank you for sharing how you approach your strategy. From your point of view, how is technology driving your forward in sports?
Yeah, look, I think the biggest piece is that it's the ability to just share your experience or share your personality. So from a fan standpoint, the ability to share your experience, whether it's here or a concert or anything else, is never been easy. And it's never been a bigger audience out there for your content. You know, regardless of how big your following is or not, there's an audience of people who are just, you know, UT fans and they want to be able to see, I'm not able to there, like what kind of content can I see coming on the stage? So like, there's an audience for that. The technology will continue to evolve. The phones will continue to evolve too. And the ability to scrape, you know, the internet through AI and finding what did I miss today? Like tailgates, we'll get faster and more customized for what you want to see, not what I want to see. The second part is really on the technology side. It's going to be just the enhancements and the add-ons. Like, we're never going to be able to impact dramatically what happens on the field or the court, or you know, the biggest piece for us that we're able to impact is going to be delivery of information that leads to other things. So that's going to be, you know, gambling. It's going to be new content, you know, the ability for you to get new camera angles that are connected by wireless cameras and 5G, your ability to get biometric data. And then really, you know, all of this feeds into like enhancing the fan experience, mostly for broadcast. Like, you know, I think that you still have the normal fan experience as much as you use your phone when you come to these games now. Not everybody wants to have a game or something. Like, we had this really dumb campaign idea a couple months ago that never saw the light of day, but we were trying to get to a point of having a 15-minute moment in every single football game where we said, just like, put your phone game away and take it in. We killed it, but it was just very much of like we have become so reliant on having our phone in our hand and taking it in. It's not necessarily our responsibility to tell you to stop using our product. We don't make more or less money by you not using it. Or using it, but the thing is for us is that there is a lot of pushback we continue to hear from fans of like, this is supposed to be your getaway. And if anything, you feel like it's less than a getaway because you feel up with what's going on your phone. And then the second part about it is, do you feel this obligation to share and capture instead of being in the moment? And so for us, we're trying to find like, what is that thin line of like, we play a role of pushing you into that being in the moment. And it's weird because why would we do that when you think we want to own a product? But there is something there. Like, I think it's just something that all of our sports partners continue to push for is, it's the balance of sharing and the balance of being in the moment. We're trying to help people find that.
Thanks, Nick. You mentioned some interesting technologies, and you mostly connected that to the fan experience, but I can imagine you also have the ability to potentially influence the game itself and support the coaches. Can you speak towards that a little bit?
Yeah, look, I think that the biggest one for us is that using Sports, we do a big partnership with Penske. They just won the NASCAR championship. We work with them on a private network to deliver telemetry data real time. And if our data is half a second faster than the next person's data, the ability for them to make decisions that much faster is, it's truly performance. Like, you start looking at the F1 space, which I know is your growing sport. The role that we play for delivering information, same thing. Like, there is a lot of issues currently in college sports as it relates to data integrity or even reliability. Like you see now they have like tablets on the sidelines and player to coach communication. If I told you how many times it has not worked, like even down the road in Texas Tech, they had the issue where there was concerns about there was like somebody who was able to hack into the coach to player communication with null plays. Like the role that we play in making sure that that doesn't happen is almost more important than the performance side. The second side about it we've become too is that we're working right now with some AI partners on the ability to provide you even greater information. So for example, like if you go in at halftime and you're just getting your ass kicked off the left side over and over again, you can go in on the way to the locker room and basically say, pull up every time, this player has, come off the edge, over the last 3 years. By the time the coach goes from here down to the locker room, the last 80 plays where that play's been run. And that can't happen manually. Like this is where AI can come in and pull these texts, pull this information, pull this data quickly. So there are ability to create platforms for smarter decisions to be made, faster decisions to be made, and just taking these treasure troves of data. The one place I'm most excited about is the recruiting side of this, is that there's thousands of kids across the country. When we start looking at our ability to install 5G cameras that are like AI produced, there's no reason you can't watch every single game in the country. Like it doesn't cost a lot. You can literally watch it real time. You don't have to spend a ton of money flying around the country to recruit. You can see every single game, and it may not be Scorsese level production, but it will be very much enough to see the talent that's on the field.
Thanks. Amazing. Just before we all talk here, you mentioned something about a program we recently launched called Behind the Lens, and I found it interesting as we dig in more into the niches of culture.
Yeah.
Can you speak a little bit towards that?
It does. So we launched the program like every brand. We're trying to find our space and getting into sports. And I think that historically we've been in everything from the WNBA to NWSL, but we weren't making any real impact. And by meaning impact, it's an impact to us because we have a logo, but we weren't doing anything to drive sport forward, athletes forward. So we created a program really focused on the role that we can play. So we've, with the NFL for a couple of years, had this thing called the local content correspondent program. This is basically social media people, photographers, videographers that go to each individual event and they capture content that goes on the NFL league, the team, the players' channels, real time or shortly after the actual game themselves. And there's about 120 of them across the country. And they shoot it all on our phone. So what we do is we provide new phones every year, train them on the best way to use these, and then we say goodbye. And we really were kind of hands off. And I think that this year we spent a lot of time with the NFL, and we're like, you can look around the room and realize it was not representative of maybe, what all of us would aspire to be. So what we've done is we've leaned heavily into, closing the gap and women, LCC members, and more importantly, just the content creators. I don't mean content creators in front of the camera. We call it behind the lens because we mean the videographers, we mean the photographers, we mean the social content managers. So by the beginning of the next football season, we'll have 100 women who have gone through this program where they're shooting the Super Bowl, they're shooting NFL games, they're shooting the combine, the draft, and they're being given this opportunity to build their portfolio, to help get them and accelerate the opportunity for them to get these jobs. You have to be freelancer or not. Because a lot of the feedback we got from the women we interviewed in the NFL was just said, like, yeah, they're great, but they've never shot an NFL game. So it's kind of like a chicken and egg. Well, if they had never shot an NFL game, I give them a chance. So we're providing the opportunity for these women to go build a portfolio, to shoot this, and the response has been good. Like, I mean, I think it's just, we'll start with NFL this year, we'll have 100 women run through the program, and then we'll also expand it to say, hey, you're based in Fort Lauderdale, we also need you to go shoot the F1 race, and we also need you to go shoot the Miami Marlins, all the places we have partnerships and lean into it, because we want to make sure that should these women really want to get into sports, we give them every platform possible to actually build a portfolio and resume that they can't do on their own. And so we will measure success, not off social measures or whatever, but we hope that we're able to place these women into actual full-time jobs or real careers in this space. And it's not all of us allowed. And candidly, I don't know that we're going to win awards or any of this other stuff, but the biggest thing for us is that we feel like it's going to impact the kind of content that comes out, and it will impact even our higher pipeline. So being more purposeful about it, like we've taken a lot of heat over the last, I've been here almost 2 years, that we're the only telecom brand that doesn't have a women's sponsorship, but that's easy. So finding us a place that actually made sense. We investing more than we invest in when we were sponsoring just to make this happen. So we're proud of it. It's just one of those things that we wish more brands would look at, and we're not better than anyone else. It's just a lot of work, and it's one of those things that I was shocked that we've had nobody tell us no. The leagues, the teams, the agency partners, they're like, we love to help. So everything we're always going to see you be great, but it's not well.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you, Nick. Thank you for sharing your point of view on sports and the multiple intersections with culture and how technology is pushing it forward. Big applause for Nick, Kelly, thanks everyone.